A week ago, we had finished the 500-mile hike Camino de Santiago from Saint Jean Pied de Port in France to the cathedral in Santiago, and now we really needed a rest. Our flight arrived on time, and as we stepped out of the airport, we were really ready for our next adventure. On the 4th of July 2019, we arrived in Israel. The gentleman at the Airbnb was very helpful, and we couldn't have asked for better. After a good night's sleep, we wandered outside to see what Israel had to offer. Fortunately, the weather was perfect, and we suddenly found out we were just 2 blocks from everything we would ever need, especially the many restaurants across from the beaches. While wandering, we came across the entrance to Jaffa and quickly climbed those stairs you can see in the photograph in the center page. The old town of Jaffa. This is where Tel Aviv originally started. The old city of Jaffa has been completely regenerated, and the narrow streets and the courtyards are excellent. And around every corner you discover something new. It was really like stepping back in time. I'm also sure you've probably heard of Jaffa oranges. Well, now you know this is the area and the surrounding villages of this area where they are cultivated. Also, Jaffa cakes was named after the oranges. Just a little piece of useless information. From the old structures in Jaffa to the incredibly new skyscrapers in Tel Aviv. As you will see on these slides, that Tel Aviv is a big city. But the good news is the city borders the Mediterranean Sea, and there are long stretches of sandy beaches. We also found that getting around the city was very easy. The transport system is very efficient and easy to follow. There was buses, underground, you name it, Tel Aviv has it all. So we spent a week between the beaches and swimming in the Mediterranean and discovering the downtown areas. During our time, while sitting on the beaches, getting browner and browner by the day, I analysed the map of Israel and decided on our next location. The first task would be the train along the coast to the city of Haifa. I had read that Haifa was Israel's 3rd largest city, with 25% of the population immigrants from the former Soviet Union. This making Russia one of the 3 main spoken languages in the city. I decided that would be Lorena's problem. She was the expert as far as languages were concerned. On our first morning, as we wandered through the local streets, we came across a very interesting fence. If you look at the photographs below, you will see that each bar of the fence has a small bit of painting of James Dean and another one, Marilyn Monroe. But if you stand in the right area, you can see the full photographs of both individuals. Brilliantly done. We went a little bit further and we came across an area where there was a Mexican and an English flag. I decided these people were really wanting to make us feel at home. Good start to the day. But on our second day, we decided to wander out into the mountainous area on Mount Carmel and visit Elijah's cave. It was quite an interesting experience. Mount Carmel and Elijah's cave are famous because of the fire miracle that happened at that location. Elijah called fire down from heaven, which not only consumed a bull, but also the altar itself. When we came back from the cave, we visited a couple of museums, and the photograph in the bottom right hand corner is an example of what you see in these museums. The photograph in the top right hand corner is the National Science and Technology Museum. This is a great hands-on environment. Without doubt, the best place in the city is the Baha'i Gardens. This is a place of pilgrimage for the Baha'i faith. I'd never heard of the Baha'i faith, so I looked it up. And the faith advocates for the elimination of all forms of prejudice, including racial and gender discrimination, and promotes social justice and equality. Sounds like quite a good faith to me. This slide and the following two give an example of what the Baha'i Garden is. But when you've wandered through it, you understand, and I have to say a big thank you to the Baha'i religion for creating such a beautiful environment. After immersing ourselves in the gardens, we decided the following day to take the 2-hour bus ride to Jerusalem and visit the old city. We arrived after lunch, and the photograph on the right is the hotel we had booked, and in the centre the Zion Gate, which was merely 100 yards away. Walked through the doors and we were in the Jewish quarter. It couldn't have been better. I created this slide so I could maximize my tourist visit of the old city of Jerusalem. This is a one-off opportunity for me, and I wanted to make the best of it. To have a look at the slides, you can see where the different religious quarters are and the population. The populations I updated in the year 2022, and you can see from the bottom left-hand corner, at that time there was 971,800 people. Also, there was 10,800 people of no fixed religious denomination. After breakfast on the first day, we went through the Zion Gate and headed over into the Jewish quarter to visit the Wailing Wall. Lorraine and I put on our tourist hats and wandered round the old city. The one in the centre, on the top, is the Dome of the Rock. Over to the right, that is the largest cemetery that either one of us have ever seen in our lives. And over to the left, that's Lorena's hand on a sacred location. Centre, that's Lorena standing at a hotel balcony, and the Zion Gate just across the way. The left-hand side was just outside the old city, was this painting on the side of a wall, and I couldn't resist having a photograph. And that's Lorena wandering into one of the many, many churches we visited. This slide shows 3 interesting places in and around Jerusalem. The previous slide, you saw the entrance to the Holy Sepulchre, the Christian church. On this slide, on the top left-hand corner, you'll see the high priest standing beside Lorena, and I actually took that photograph. The high priest then called me over and took my camera and gave it to his assistant, and here we are with both in the same picture. In the bottom left-hand corner is the dome covering the rock. It is this rock that the world was created, itself being the very first part of the earth to come into existence. It is said that God gathered the earth that was formed and gave it to Adam. If you glance over to the right-hand side, you will see the entrance to the Terra Sancta, which means the Holy Land. The centre photograph shows Lorena leaving the large cage to the tunnel of Gethsemane. The significance of Gethsemane is it's a place where Jesus experienced immense anguish and prayer before his arrest and crucifixion. The old city of Jerusalem is a mass of very narrow streets with goods everywhere. It's a very, very interesting place to visit. We were very fortunate to experience a number of wonderful, wonderful sunsets. On my final slide of Jerusalem, I decided to concentrate on the Dome of the Rock. My reasoning is, it is thought this is where the world began. On our way to the Dead Sea, we took a stop at the Eden Natural Reserve. First thing we discovered, beautiful waterfalls and caves. We took full advantage of the waterfalls, as you can see from these photographs. The next 3 slides show the location of Masada, which is very close to Mount Arbel. It became the final holdout of the Jewish rebels following the total destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. If you look at the photograph in the bottom left-hand corner, that flat area is where Masada was located. And if you look down to the side, you'll see the pathway working its way up to the top. Lorraine and I actually walked all the way up to the top and all the way back down. We achieved something that the Romans couldn't do in their time. The Jewish rebels were able to hold out against the Romans for quite a long period of time. Eventually, the Romans built these towers to enable them to get to the top, and the Jewish rebels were defeated. We headed to the town of Tiberias. The following day, we went out on this hike, which turned out to be a lot more difficult than we anticipated. The goal of the hike was to reach Elijah's cave. We slowly climbed our way up, and we were overjoyed to achieve our goal. To prove I'm an English gentleman, it's always ladies first, so Lorena was the first one to climb. The photograph on the right is Elijah's cave, and it was in the cave where he summoned the fire from heaven. The Sea of Galilee isn't actually a sea, it's a lake. It became very, very famous through the Bible. It had many biblical stories within the Bible. Lorraine and I decided we would enjoy the Sea of Galilee as Jesus and his disciples had done many, many years ago. From Tiberias, we jumped on a bus and we travelled down the road to the Dead Sea. And we spent the day just enjoying the strange phenomena that this place has. We spent about 6 hours in the Dead Sea, and it was a fabulous, fabulous experience. You can see on 2 of the photographs, it appears one of the things that you're supposed to do is cover yourself in black mud, which we obviously obliged, and then go into the sea to wash it off. And then you can see me reading a newspaper. Well, I've proved from this particular photograph that photographs do lie. I can't read that newspaper because that newspaper is written in Arabic. The bottom centre photograph shows me just lying totally relaxed in the Dead Sea. It is impossible to sink. This is probably one of the most comfortable beds I've ever had in my life. After 5 very, very long showers to wash off all the salt, we jumped on a bus to the city of Eilat. Eilat is in the south of Israel and is a resort on the Red Sea, quite close to Jordan. Its beaches are noted for their calm waters and also the dolphin reef, which is great for snorkeling. Well, we have spent 7 weeks wandering through Israel, and I have to say it has been better than excellent. All of the many historical places that we've been to visit, and here in Eilat, a resort which is second to none. If you look at the photograph in the top left-hand corner, an underwater observatory park, it was fabulous, and the snorkeling was just as good. Tomorrow morning, we take a bus over the border into Jordan, and our goal is to visit Petra. This would be our penultimate wonder of the world. And in a week or so's time, we're going to take a flight to Cairo to finish them off with the pyramids. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found it informative and interesting.